These are your instructions. In general, you just need to follow the PowerPoint. Please make sure the sound is turned up on your device so you can hear the narration. Your instructions are in yellow boxes on each slide. If a slide asks for homework, don't forget to send it in via Show My Homework, and if a slide asks for Educate to be completed, don't forget to do it by the date given. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to draw distance time graphs and extract information from the lines and slopes, and you should also be able to determine the speed from a distance time graph.
This is just a quick review of the work we did on distance time graphs. If you look at this graph, distance is on the y-axis and time is on the x-axis. What you need to be able to do is look at the various lines and recall what they represent in terms of the motion of the object. The rules are these. If there is a gradient, i.e. a slope, then you know that the object is moving at some speed. The steeper the slope, the more the gradient, the faster that speed is. If you have a straight uphill section, that means the object is traveling at a steady speed. If you have a flat section, that means the distance is not increasing while the time is passing. So a flat section means that the object is stationary. If you have a curve, it means you're looking at acceleration or deceleration. That means the object is getting faster or slower. If you have a curve that is getting steeper, then that is acceleration. And if you have a curve that is flattening off, i.e. getting less steep, then that is deceleration. This is the question that was set a couple of lessons ago, and not very many people managed to get the answers right. So let's go through it one step at a time. This is a distance time graph, and you can see the distance is up the y-axis and time in seconds is on the x-axis. So nothing unusual there. Part 1 of the question says, how far has a cyclist travelled between point A and B? So if you look at the graph, the journey starts here at 0 meters and 0 seconds and goes to here to B. So that part of the journey takes, measured off the graph, 6 seconds, and that part of the journey covers, looking up the y-axis, 30 meters. So the question is, how far has a cyclist travelled between points A and B? 30 meters. The next part of the question wants to know how far the cyclist travelled throughout his entire journey. And you can read the distances off this y-axis. So for instance, from A to B, you know he travelled 30 meters. By the time he got to C, he'd travelled 40 meters. For this section, he didn't travel anywhere at all, so he was stationary. Up to here, he travelled 80 meters from home, and this is where you need to be a little bit careful, because up to this point he's travelled 80 meters from home, but by the time he gets to here, F, he is back at home. So he has travelled 80 meters up to this point and then the 80 meters back to where he started from. So the entire journey is 160 meters. This part of the question wants to know the cyclist's speed between C and D. Well, if you look here at C and D, this line is level, it has no gradient. And if you look at the axis, you can see the time is increasing from 10 to 15 seconds, but the distance on this axis remains at 40 meters from home. So for this part of the journey, the cyclist is in fact stationary. He's not moving. Part 2b, describe the cyclist speed between points D and E. Well, D is here and E is here. There's a gradient, a slope between those 2 points. So the cyclist is traveling. That's the first thing you can work out. But the second thing you can work out is that is the steepest line on the journey. So you could say that the cyclist is moving quickly. Part 2C, describe the cyclist speed between points B and C. Here's B, here's C. We have a slope, so we know that the cyclist is traveling. But also, you know that the steepness of the slope is not very great. So you could say he's traveling slowly. Part 3A, between which 2 points is the cyclist traveling the fastest? Well, that's easy because you're looking for the steepest slope, and that is between D and E. Part 3B, between which 2 points is the cyclist traveling the slowest? So this is the opposite to the previous question. We're looking for a slope, but we're looking for the least steep slope, the smallest gradient. So that is between B and C. Part 4A, calculate the average speed of the cyclist between points A and E. So that is from here to here. Now you know a formula for working out speed. Speed equals the distance traveled divided by the time taken. So between A and E, we need to work out the total distance traveled and the total time taken. So let's write our formula down first. Speed equals distance divided by time. And then from the graph, we can read the total distance from here at 0 to here at 80 meters. He's traveled 80 meters, and that has taken 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18 seconds altogether. So let's put that in. 80 divided by 18 gives us an answer of 4.44 meters per second. It's a speed. Part 4B, calculate the average speed of the cyclist between points E and F. So we're looking at here to here. And again, we know a formula, speed equals distance divided by time. And then from the graph, the distance from there at 80 meters away to 0 is 80 meters. And the time taken is 1, 2, and that 5 is 7 seconds. So it's this part of the journey from here to here, 7 seconds. So put those two numbers in. 80 meters divided by 7 seconds gives us 11.43 meters per second. And this is the last part of the question. Calculate the average speed through the cyclist's entire journey. So we know from the previous part that he traveled 80 meters to there and another 80 meters to there. That is 160 meters for a distance traveled. And here is the time, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 seconds for the whole journey. So let's put in our formula. Speed equals distance divided by time equals 160 meters divided by 25 seconds gives us an average speed of 6.4 meters per second. There's a PDF attached to this lesson with a second question on it. Can you please submit your answers to Mr. Rahman by showing my homework by Friday the 22nd of May?